Good to be here.
It's time for basketball.
It's time for basketball. It feels cold out.
It's fall weather now.
Yeah.
That means it's time for basketball.
Yeah, we're officially ready to go.
Let's go.
Let's start with this. What makes this team unique and different from the others that you've played on at BYU? Because you've been through a lot here.
Yeah, senior year. So I've definitely seen a lot of different rosters. To be honest, I think this team is just mentally locked in, which is a really good thing to have. I think in past years we've had a lot of outstanding players. We've had some changes as far as how we've played going into last season especially. But going into this year, I think you've got a group of guys who are super focused. And you also have, for the first time ever really for me, a very grown-up roster. You got a lot of juniors and a couple of seniors in there. And so all of a sudden you have this leadership, which I think maybe we haven't had in the past. I've been on 2 rosters my time here at BYU where we haven't had 1 senior.
Super crazy.
So, yeah.
There's 8 of you, which is crazy. I want to break down a lot of basketball with you, but I've got to ask you a couple other questions. BYU beat Wisconsin, Luke.
Yeah.
You're from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So what was that like for you emotionally? Because I know you're a Badgers fan, but you go to BYU.
Yeah, well, I'm more of a Coug. I'm a huge Packer guy.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Bucks guy, but I never really got huge
Brewers?
into the Badger stuff. The Brewers I support.
It's game day for the Brewers.
Yeah,
so,
I support the Brewers.
Yeah.
But I'm emotionally behind the Packers and Bucks, whereas the Badgers is like, way to go, guys. So when they do well, I'm happy, but I'd rather have BYU win.
So was your phone blowing up with text, or were you blowing up people's phone with text? You're like, dude, the Cougs, what's up?
I don't talk
You're
to
that guy. You
if I had said anything, they could have just said something about last year and how that game turned out. So
sorry, when?
Right.
Oh, last year. Interesting.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Just consult with me if you need the.
Oh my
Exactly.
goodness! Yeah, you want to troll? Talk to Jeremy.
How many times is BYU going to be Wisconsin or something? Let's gotta take advantage,
take
bro.
Advantage.
Yeah.
It's true.
Also, let's bring up the fact that you were recently married, late August.
Congratulations.
Yes,
What's
congratulations.
What's your wife's
Thank
name?
you, Sarah.
Sarah. Awesome.
Yes.
How are things different now as a married BYU basketball player?
Wow, it's a lot different. My whole life's a lot different. But predominantly, as far as on the basketball court, I get a lot more sleep. That's for sure. When being a married man, all of a sudden your life kind of settles down a little bit. I feel grown.
Welcome.
Yeah, it's nice. So we have a few of them. It's not just me. You got Yoli and Zach and all these dudes in the off season getting married and other guys getting engaged. So it's going to be good for our team for sure.
Who isn't married or engaged on the team right
It's
now?
a short list.
Like
if you're looking,
Connor Harding,
if
Kobe
you're looking
Lee.
for a basketball player, you got to go young. You got to go for a freshman, or I don't know. There's a couple of wild cards in there. You got like Jashir and a couple different people, but it's very limited.
Yeah.
So you're better off going with football or something like that.
Oh, the matchmaker, Luke Worthington.
Yeah. Okay. So this team, like you've talked about, okay, you got 6 juniors, 2 seniors, and the expectation is always to get into the NCAA tournament. Stylistically, describe to us how it's perhaps different, because Heath Schroeder was kind of running things schematically. Now he's at McNeese. Right. So how is it different on the court?
It's different because I think there are a couple of guys especially who feel that this up-paced tempo, and not that we're throwing away any of the half-court that we did make ground on last year, but we are playing more up-tempo in terms of transition. We had basically no transition points last year, which hurt us in some games, especially against, teams like Gonzaga and other guys. And so being able to push it, I think, is helping to loosen up a lot of guys where they don't feel as tight when they go to shoot. And so hopefully overall it just helps us to score the ball. And then defensively, to be honest, we've kept a lot of things in place. There's a couple of things that we've changed as far as again, just schematically to tighten it up. But for the most part, defense is kind of the same.
So if BYU basketball had an offensive and defensive coordinator, who would they be this year with the revised staff?
I think it's kind of a balanced attack. Because sure, you have guys, and you mentioned Heath last year, who's on the court and screaming his guts out, but you have guys on the sidelines the whole time who are coaching individually. Sure. So although you might have, I would say, kind of at the helm sometimes during practice, Coach Lewis, you have other guys who are taking you aside, Coach Lacombe, Lee, Kamard, Coach Rose talking.
And now Nate Austin a little bit too.
And Nate
Okay.
as well. Yeah.
He's a graduate assistant.
Yeah.
What has Lee Kamard brought to the table? And is he different at all now that he's not a grad assistant and an assistant coach, or is he?
Are you
the same
asking
guy?
about his personality? Because that hasn't changed.
No,
For sure.
no, that is the same for sure.
Yeah.
What I mean is he a different dude in how he coaches because he's an assistant coach now?
Yeah, I mean, his role has changed for sure. I mean, with a graduate assistant, you're kind of this versatile. All of a sudden, you're on the court, you're off the court, you're playing with the guys, or you're just telling them what to do. So, as an assistant coach, it's far more, instructional and really telling guys directly what they should be doing in their position, as opposed to like, hey, nice shot, or just it's almost like you're a glorified cheerleader sometimes.
Yeah, you're a friend or
right,
supporter.
kind of a friend,
Yeah.
supporter, as opposed to a guy who's actually coaching.
So does he have to be a bad guy with you now a little bit? Whereas before he could be the
Lee
affirmer?
couldn't be a bad guy. Lee can't talk trash to me. He knows that.
Does this because Lee would jump in, wouldn't he? Often on the scout squad sometimes.
Yeah.
Now
would.
he probably
Especially when there was a need for it, if some guy went down
Yeah.
or something, he'd go in and.
So now he probably doesn't. as an
No,
assistant
he has.
coach?
Well, he doesn't want any of this anyway. He's getting too old for it.
You said you didn't talk trash. Look at that. That was good.
Luke Worthington, BYU basketball senior forward with us on BYU Sports Nation. When you see on the schedule, Nevada, Utah, Houston, San Diego State, Gonzaga's probably going to be ranked top 5. They're on it twice. What do you think when you look at that schedule?
That's exciting. That's sweet. I mean, I don't think anybody really gets scared or intimidated to play those games. I get hyped at least. I mean, I see those kind of guys on the schedule, and all it can do is help. I mean, realistically, win or lose, playing teams like that helps as long as you get better throughout the season. So I anticipate winning those games. I think we have the players and the system and the coaching and the preparation to do it. I think we're going to get some big wins in the preseason and the non-conference season, and then in the conference as well. But it's more than anything just exciting, I think, to get to play those kind of teams.
Give us an idea of who is vastly improved in, say, a certain area. Like we're hearing, hey, Yoli Childs is more of a consistent three-point shooter, things like that.
Yeah. There's several guys. There really is. I'm not just saying that. I mean, as far as the summer and coming into the very beginning of the practices and season right now, Zach's been shooting the lights out. So that's been really awesome to see that confidence in him shooting so well. I'd say Rylan has made quite a few jumps in his game. He's a really long, athletic guy, but as a freshman was just trying to kind of figure it out. And then, I mean, it's hard because I don't want to leave anyone out because there's been a lot of dudes that make progress.
Just know you'll be left out. If Luke doesn't mention it, he'll mention it another time.
Yeah, if you get left out, then you haven't made any strides at all. No.
Pick it up.
So there were only 2 of you. Sorry.
Only 2 of us in the whole off season.
Yep.
It's too bad.
And I want to ask you what you worked on. How are you a better player?
I've kind of been working on just overall. I mean, towards the end of the season last year, to be honest, I think in that championship game, we got kind of run out. I mean, we almost ran out of juice. We made it to that game. We beat St. Mary's. That was a team that we wanted to beat. But at the end of the day, it's going to be Gonzaga. It always has been. It always will be.
Yeah.
So we need to get to that championship game and be feeling our best. And I've worked on, my body as far as conditioning and lifting and all that kind of stuff. And I think we need to continue to do that and monitor ourselves throughout the year so that we have the juice to bring it every single night on the floor, or else you can get run out of the gym by some of these teams.
Yeah.
Like you said, we're playing a lot of good competition, so you got to make sure you're there physically.
What's the most important bit of advice that you have given or will give to the new guys that are joining an experienced roster?
Man, you're looking for a Winston Churchill kind of quote here.
Nice.
Man, more than anything, maybe even more than advice, and I mentioned this recently to Coach Kamard, is I think each of those guys needs an individual mentor to not just give them maybe a one-liner, but to be at their side, helping them throughout the year. Your freshman year is critical for your growth. And I think, even if I were to take one guy, if I were to take a fellow big man, I'd take Colby aside and I'm telling him in a game, certain situations, either not to get sped up or not to get flustered or to be talking constantly to his other teammates. I mean, that's gonna help him more in the long run than thinking, man, Luke told me this and I'm just ready to go all year, because those kind of things fade. So you got to be at their side the whole year long. And I think we got other guys who need to do that for the other freshmen as well, and we're going to be super successful.
Yeah, a comment doesn't have great shelf life, right?
Yeah.
You gotta go to the well often.
Unless you're Winston Churchill.
Unless you're Winston Churchill. No. Apparently, that sunk deep into you.
Yeah, it did.
Luke, great to talk to you.